Lulos kasi yan. Nawawala.
Oo nga, nawawala. Sa actual na video, may nawawala ang sounds eh.
Lulos na wala.
Sige na, go. Okay, good morning everyone, and welcome to our second day of webinar for bookkeepers.
Lulos kasi yan. Nawawala.
Let's start our day with please bow down your heads nawawala. Sa feel the presence na video, may nawawala ang sounds eh. Our Lord God and loving Father, we thank you, Father, for this beautiful day. Thank you for gathering us this morning for this webinar for bookkeepers. Father God, please grant us the knowledge and the wisdom that we need in order that we can perform our work today, our task. We can bring this back home and we can apply it in our work, all for the glory of your name. This we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, so good morning everyone, and today is our second day and the last day of our webinar for bookkeepers. Kahapon we have a very fruitful day and we discuss about the debit and credit, no? So more or less now meron na kayong idea on what is a debit and what is a credit and kailan dapat nag-debit at kailan dapat nag-credit, no? Just review for debit and credit. Ang asset account, pag nag-debit ka, nag-increase. Pag ang asset account nag-credit ka, mag-decrease, no? So opposite yung debit and credit for liabilities and stockholders' equity. Pag nag-debit ka sa liabilities and stockholders' equity, magdi-decrease siya. Pag nag-credit ka, mag-i-increase siya. Pagdating naman sa income statement account, those are for balance sheet account. Pagdating naman sa income statement account, pag nag-debit ka sa mga expenses, mag-increase siya. Pag nag-debit ka sa expenses, bawas siya. Sa sales naman, pagka nag-debit ka, bawas siya. Pagka nag-credit ka, increase naman yung sales. No? So yun naman yung effect. So dalawa lang naman yung sa recording natin ng mga accounts sa financial statements na affected. Sa debit and credit natin, yung balance sheet accounts and the income statement account. Balance sheet account are the permanent account, hindi siya nagko-close. Ang income statement account are temporary accounts, kino-close siya. Bakit? Kasi for one taxable year, yung mga amount for the income, for the expenses, mini-measure niya in one taxable year, which is 12 months. No? Kaya pag ang financial statement mo, hindi siya aabot ng 12 months, ang tawag doon short period return. No? Because ang one taxable year talaga, whether you are in fiscal year or a calendar year, ang mangyayari doon, 12 months talaga siya, no? 12 months ang measurement. And balikan pala natin yung fiscal year at saka calendar year, ha? Yung fiscal year, only for corporation, hindi po pwede ang individual, ha? Ang individual, calendar year lang siya, which is January to December. Yun ang one taxable period. For corporations, pwede siyang gumamit ng fiscal year, which is starting another month except January. Kasi ang January to December, para na yan sa calendar year. So, ang fiscal year, pwede siyang mag-umpisa ng February, March, April, May, June, no? December, but not January. Magiging calendar year siya, no? So, yun yung sa calendar year natin. Ngayon, pagdating naman nung hapon, we have our closing entries and then our adjusting entries, no? We discuss about accruals and deferrals. Yung dinidefer mo, hindi mo muna ni-recognize. Yun namang accruals, na-accrue mo na siya, tinototal mo na siya, nire-recognize mo na siya. No? So, yun ang dahilan bakit magkakaroon tayo dapat ng adjusting entries. And adjusting entries are very important in order to reflect the true or the correct account in the balance sheet, no? In the financial statements as a whole. Okay. So I would like to remind pala muna dun sa ating mga participants, no? And we are very particular about your attendance sheet, especially those who are applying for an e-certificate. For those na hindi naman po kailangan ng e-certificate, it's okay. No, you have your own time. Pero yung mga nangangailangan, we will just monitor your attendance so that hindi naman we have our basis to issue the e-certificate. Otherwise, ayaw naman namin po na nag-i-issue tayo na hindi naman pala uma-attend, no? So, please have your attendance sheet and all your concerns at saka mga queries, monitor mo na. Sino nagmo-monitor ng mga queries nila, Jeff? Nakikita mo dyan sa chat box? Yung lahat ba, Albert, na bigyan na ng PowerPoint, no? Because those na gusto pa, no, yung mga humahabol halimbawa ngayon, and you want PowerPoint, no, or materials for this webinar, email lang po kayo or chat kayo dyan sa box para mapadalhan kayo ni Albert plus yung inyong email address, no? Mas preferred natin yung email. Mas maano siya padala. Mas, walang limit sa may limit, no? Okay. So today, this is our second day and our topic would be the preparation of basic financial statement based on records. When we say based on records, we will not prepare a financial statements na haka-haka lang or estimates lang or hindi naka-base sa records or hindi magtatali dun sa records natin, no? So always think na once you prepare your basic financial statement, that would be filed in the regulatory agencies of our government, just like the BAR and the SEC. So for you to file information or financial statements na hindi reconciled with your other records, then magkakaroon po kayo ng problema. That's why very particular tayo on the preparation of basic financial statements based on your records. Please feedback ha kung nawawala yung audio natin. No? Siguro dapat magpalit na rin tayo ng mic. Okay. Okay na? Sige. So, be very particular about the reconciliation of your financial statements with your existing records, no? Para wala tayong problema. Because during the audit, lahat po ng records ninyo i-reconcile yan. And not only your own records, your financial statement will be matched also with other third-party information. So, ganun na po katindi. And also a reminder, yung inventories natin. The BIR is very particular of the inventory ngayon. No? And they even send letters to taxpayers way back, mga 4 years pa, no? 2016. And they are requiring inventories, especially for those who are manufacturing and then walang inventory na dinideclare. No? So be very careful. So, let's start with the preparation of basic financial statement based on records. No? Kasi when I prepare financial statements, inuuna ko yung income statement. No? Why? Kasi income statement, nandyan yung net income niya, retained earnings, yan ang ginagamit mo, or you filled it up, or lahat ng income statement accounts mo, kinuklose mo to doon sa income and summary account, diba? Yung sa closing the books of accounts. O nandito na sila ngayon sa income statement. And the result of operation, ito na yung net income mo, which is gagamitin mo ngayon doon sa balance sheet mo, if you fill up mo doon sa retained earnings. No? So, when we prepare financial statement, inuuna ko muna yung income statement. So, depende sa iba, no? Especially if you are using a computerized books of accounts, it's not a problem for you, yung preparation ng financial statement because it is automatic. It is the system that will prepare all these reports. But doon lang sa mga mano-mano natin, no, which is majority of us, ito yung proseso. No? So when you prepare your income statement, saan manggagaling yung income statement accounts mo? Of course, doon sa trial balance, no? So this is an example of the income statement. Exemplar company. No? So take note of the format na. So we have net sales. And then there is space there, no column na nagsasabi na note, no? So net sales is note 1. So if you want to look at the explanation of this net sales, punta ka doon sa note 1. Why? Because sa note 1, meron niyang breakdown kung saan yung galing yung sales, no? Meron niyang explanation doon about sales. And the note 1 or the notes refers to the notes to financial statements which are mandatory para sa is-easy, although yung BIR hindi siya nagre-require, but also BIR follows with that requirements of the accounting standards. And accounting standard requires notes or disclosures to the financial statements to make it more understandable. Why? Because when you try to look at the income statement and then look at the accounts, you have no idea what these net sales are for, no? Or ano nangyari dito. But when you try to look at the notes, no, may explanations doon. So when I do my audit, no, my time, now for 29 years I do audit and investigations. Ang ipuna ko talaga when I analyze, wala. Siguro siya. Okay. So, what I did when I analyze financial statements, inuuna ko talaga yung notes to financial statements. And mind, in the notes to financial statements, I have so many findings. No? Why? Kasi there are accountants also na ang ginagawa nila, nilalamang nila administrative expenses. Yung mga ganon, when you try to look at the income statement, wala kang makitang detailed information about the operation of the company. Summary lang lahat, no? But when you try to look at the notes to financial statement, very detailed, doon ako maraming findings. No? Kaya take note, when you prepare your financial statements, always think that filing a financial statements, you are filing an information, and that information will be used by government agencies. And later on, you will be subjected to audit. Why? Because if you think that way, prepared ka na for the coming audit. No? So, you begin now to think na you have to comply. Para hindi magalaw. Kasi may ganun sa isang taon na ba yan? Oo, mahigit isang taon na yan. Sana si Nelson. Nelson, Okay, no, sorry for the technical problems, but uh, um, we will continue. Langaw na naman. Okay. Daming ano ngayon. Let's continue. So, we will be preparing now our income statement. At yun yung mga tips ko sa inyo, no? That be very careful about the notes and the disclosures, and it should be reconciled with your other records and with other third-party information also. So, in this example, we have the income statement of exemplar company. So, the first item here is the net sales. So, when we prepare our income statement, saan gagaling po itong net sales? Nanggagaling ito sa ating books of accounts. If you are a VAT-registered person, manggagaling yan sa subsidiary sales purchase. Subsidiary sales book, no, na requirement. Okay. So, nandyan yung net sales. But not only that you are going to reconcile it with your books of accounts, saan pa siya dapat i-reconcile? Sa VAT returns nyo, if you have a VAT returns, if you are a VAT registered taxpayer. Careful ha. Ang net sales natin is net of sales return, and pagka ikaw ay VAT registered taxpayer, also net of VAT. VAT, yung ating net sales. Okay? So, baka, palagay ko hindi lang dito ang diferensya. Baka dyan sa, yan o, o kaya dito. So, no? Palagay ko hindi na yan dito ang problema. Baka doon sa ano. Minsan namatay yun yung isa, palitan mo ng battery. Pantay, zombie na ako.
Yung kanan ma'am, pwede mo nakanan na kamay.
Wala yung ating sound eh. Okay. So our next item is other income. So saan galing po yung other income? Can be from interest income, no, the earnings ng deposits ninyo sa bank, or can be if you have importations, meron kayong dollar accounts coming from your foreign exchange transactions, no, or disposal of assets. Ito yung other income, hindi ito yung ordinary income na ng industry nyo. No? So, kaya nga dyan siya nilagay sa other income. Hindi siya kasama dun sa operations, but sometimes these are incidental, no, to your operations. So this other income, yung dyan sa net sales. And then, meron pa siyang other, no, investment income. Ano naman itong investment income? If you have investment in securities, in yung mga projects ninyo, no, na nag-invest kayo, no, financial income, kasi yung dito final task, so hindi siya kasama dito. So only this investment income, if you have, kasama nyo pa rin yun sa net sales so that they are properly accounted, no? Pero yung iba nilalagay nila yan after na sa net income before tax and then add other income, yun ang ginagawa ng iba. But in this example, sinama niya dito sa net sales, and then we have the total income and then the expenses, no? Hindi ano dito yung direct cost, yung mga sales, purchases, sinama nilang lang lahat, no? So we have, this is our kind of natural income statement, no? We have here the increase in inventory, we have the net purchases, we have the employee benefit cost, ito yun na yung mga salaries and wages natin. We have sales commission, advertising, supplies expense, delivery expenses, depreciation, taxes and licenses, doubtful account, other expenses, and we have the finance cost. Okay. When you claim for your expenses, can be direct cost or operating expenses, please be careful or take note about withholding. Why? Kasi there are accounts here na mandatory ang withholding. Yan po yung lagi nating tandaan when we prepare our income statement. Why? Because there was a time that the BAR made this Revenue Regulation 6-2013, wherein if you failed to pay your withholding tax, then you cannot claim the account as an operating expenses. But it was amended nung panahon na ni Commissioner Dulay, no? At they allow claim of that expenses by paying withholding taxes. So bayaran mo yung withholding taxes, you can claim the expense. Pero during the time of Commissioner Henares, non-payment of withholding, hindi mo pwedeng i-claim. Disallowed na kaagad yung expense na yan. So, sales commission, how much is the withholding? 10%. No? So, employee benefits, meron tayong withholding tax table dyan for compensation. Advertising is considered services, so 2%. Supplies expense, wala. Delivery expenses, also services, 2%. Depreciation, take note of the depreciation. We will prepare a lapsing schedule in our other video tutorial, no? Kasi yung depreciation na yan, may mga computation tayo dyan. And that is coming from your property, plant, and equipment, no? Pag wala kang ganyan, wala kang depreciation, no? Kasi ang common error ng mga nagpe-prepare ng income statement, sometimes hindi nila tinatali yung claim of depreciation with the property and equipment that they have, no? Or sometimes may property and equipment sila, wala silang claim na depreciation. Sometimes they have depreciation pero wala namang property and equipment. That is mortal sin na in preparing income statement. Dami ko nakikita ganyan. Sabi ko, kahit may depreciation to, wala namang depreciable assets, no? So, mortal sin yan. Taxes and licenses, only basic tax can be claimed. Yung deficiency dito, penalties, hindi mo pwedeng i-claim as taxes and licenses. And there are taxes and licenses that cannot be claimed as an operating expenses. Ano yon? Yung value-added tax payment natin, ang income tax, you cannot claim that as an operating expense. Why? Kasi of course, income tax, kaya nga tayo gumagawa ng income statement because we wanted to know the net taxable income. So, hindi kasama dito talaga yung income tax. Unang-una, when we prepare our income statement, hindi pa natin alam yung income tax, how much, no? So, VAT naman, bakit hindi pwede ang VAT i-claim as an expense? Because value-added tax is a contra account. And what is the contra account of value-added tax is the input tax. Because what are the components of value-added tax? The value-added tax components are the output tax of 12% and the input tax of 12%. Output tax of 12% coming from your sales and input tax of 12% coming from your purchases. So you offset that and the excess can be your VAT payable. No? So hindi siya pwedeng i-claim as taxes and licenses in your income statement. Doubtful account, may declaration ito and there are requirements and doubtful account. Wag lang lagay ng lagay dito because doubtful account sa atin sa Pilipinas cannot be claimed. Dapat dito account written off, no? and you need a board resolution if you are a corporation. And then you have to prove to the BAR that you make an exhaustive effort to collect, no, bago nyo to ma-claim. And there are industries also na may mga, at saka hindi lang yon, you must have also an accounts receivable in your previous mga financial statement in order that you can claim a doubtful account. Wala ka namang receivable, bakit ka may doubtful account? No? So that's another mortal sin. Other expenses, some account, sinasabi nila dito, miscellaneous expenses. In your miscellaneous expenses, it should be na kunti lang. Oh, in this example, ang laki niya 320,000. Why? Because you have claimed already all other expenses. Kaya ang other expenses mo, maliit na lang yan. At all na lang yan. Yung mga nitty-gritty na that you have. And then we have the finance cost. This finance cost should tally also with your accounts payable or loan payable. Wala ka namang loan payable, meron kang interest expense or finance cost. Mortal sin sa income statement. Actually, sa 29 years kong nag-o-audit, ang dami ko pong na-discover during my audit. Meron pa kaming pre-audit at that time na we pre-audit, nag-threshold yung BAR, and then we pre-audit dun sa mga returns na after filing, pin-audit namin. Alam nyo, yung mga business returns, mayroon pa doon na individual. Tapos tinignan ko yung financial statements. Pero stockholders equity, oh my goodness, no? So hindi maganda yung pagka-drawing ng financial statements. But, of course, those are things of the past. No? And those things of the past, now, pinipenalize yan, especially computerized na tayo. No? So be very careful when you prepare your income statement. And for your information, the most important statement na talagang hinahanap ng BAR pagdating na audit and investigation is your income statement. Why? Because yung criteria, when you make a criteria for the taxpayers to be audited, una-una tinitingnan mo yung sales, hindi naman yung balance sheet. Why? Because the balance sheet is fixed. Hindi naman yan, wala naman yan tax consequence. Ang may tax consequence dito, ang dinidisallow ang may deficiency taxes later on, upon findings, itong income tax. No? Yung balance sheet, ano na lang yun, summary na lang yun ng mga accounts. But the result of operation is really from income statement. That's why this is the very important statement pagdating na po sa audit. No? Okay. So we have our total expenses, and then we have our income before tax. And then we have the income tax expense, and then we have the net income. Itong net income natin, ito na yung dinadala natin sa written earnings or capital kung individual, at dinadala natin sa balance sheet. No? That's why when I prepare income statement, always, una talaga ang income statement. Okay? So, ito yung example ng note 1. Di ba sa sales natin, we have note 1, net sales. So, gross sales, 9,300,000. Sales returns and allowance, 100,000. Sales discount, 200,000. So, we have a net sales of 9 million. No? 9 million, sorry ha. Correction. Gross sales is 9 million. Alam nyo, kahapon, I try to, pinapanood ko rin yung sarili ko. After, ginagawa ko na talaga yan, no? Every after conduct, pagkatapos ng conduct, pinapanood ko ulit yung aking video so that malalaman ko kung may mga mali. May mga mali nga po, So, sorry for that. Siguro i-post ko na lang yun yung mga mali. Kasi may mga sinabi ako doon na yung sales is percentage. Hindi naman percentage, no? Kaya, this time naman, gross sales is 9,300,000. Okay. So, gross sales is 9,300,000, and then the net sales is 9 million. No? So, it is net of sales return and sales discount. Yan yung nakalagay sa note 1. Although, when you make your own disclosures, mayroon pang explanation to, saan to galing, paano yung charging nyo, kung mayroon ba kayong installment sales, no? So, consignment, explain nyo pa ito, elaborate nyo pa. No? Kulang pa itong explanations na to. Okay. Note to other income. No? Ito yung next item in our income statement. So what are the components of other income? We have interest revenue of 180,000, dividend revenue 120, rent revenue 100, gain from expropriations. Yan ang composition. Although sa atin, sa Pilipinas, the dividend revenue is subject to final tax. No? Okay. Pero kung ang dividend mo coming from other countries and then wala naman silang final tax doon, so sama mo pa rin dito sa revenue mo. Note 3 is investment income, no? Share in net income of associates, 25%, so 500,000. Kaya nga may note 3. Why? Kasi i-explain niya kung ano yung investment income. Although, sabi ko nga sa inyo itong mga notes na dito, you can still, kulang pa to. Anong ilagay nyo dapat dito? Yung pangalan ng subsidiaries and then yung information about the subsidiaries, no? So, pwede nyo pang idagdag dyan. Note 4, increase in inventory. No? Inventory December 31, if you are manufacturing concerns or engaged in the manufacturing, pwede nyo pang idagdag dito yung goods in process and also the finished goods. And your purchases. Dito ang pinakita niya, increase in inventory. No? Hindi yung purchase beginning, add purchases, less purchase inventory end. No? Hindi niya nilagay dito. Net purchases. Purchases is 6 million, freight in 300,000, less purchase returns and allowances and purchase discount. So there is a net purchases of 5,900,000. Take note, dito po mapasok ang inventory. No? So mayroon kaming ginawa dyan na ilang years yun? 2016 hanggang 2016 hanggang 2021. So ilan yun? 5 years. Kasi umpisa ka sa purchases, and then i-match mo doon sa mga nabenta para you come up with the inventory for the year. No? So take note na yung purchases nyo at saka yung inventory nyo, magkarugtong yan. You should reconcile. Ha? Sa purchases pa lang, mag-iingat na. Okay. Employee benefit cost. Sales, salaries, 600,000. SSS and PhilHealth, 20,000, office salary, 650, SSS and PhilHealth office. Negative yan na, yung mga SSS, PhilHealth, minus yan sa employees cost, no? Although dito, employer share pala ito, hindi siya minus, plus, no? Sorry. SSS and PhilHealth, ng office at saka ng sales salaries at saka yung mga bonuses. So, yung total employees cost niya or salaries and wages is 1,400,000. Sa atin, dito sa Pilipinas, you should consider the withholding tax. No? If there are salaries and wages na over 250,000, it is mandatory for you to make withholding or deduct a withholding tax and remit into the BIR. Ang tawag doon is withholding tax on compensation. And for these employees' benefits, you must issue BIR Form 2316 to your employees. Note 7 are the supplies expense. No? So store supplies, office supplies, total supplies expense. Note 8 is the depreciation. So may depreciation ng store, may depreciation ng office. So you have total depreciation of 240,000. But of course, for BIR purposes po, may lapsing schedule pa to. No? Ito, notes lang to kasi, explanation. Pero pagdating sa sarili niyang schedule, yung depreciation, there is a lapsing schedule wherein you have your breakdown of what are your property and plants and equipment beginning, no? So beginning of the taxable year, and then there are additions, and then yung total, you compute also the depreciation, so you have the carrying value, and then you have to compute also if there are disposal during the period, and then the carrying value end, no? So yun yung lapsing schedule. And then we have the other expenses. So ano do yung other expenses natin? Loss on sale of investment, loss on sale of disposal of property, and then the casualty loss from earthquake. Lahat yan, may mga reporting requirements yan. When you declare casualty loss from earthquake, meron niyang revenue regulations on how to determine this loss. No? Dapat within 45 days, you report it to the BAR, and then pag na-report mo na sa BAR, the examiner will determine or will make an investigation and then determine the proper amount of the loss. So, ibig sabihin, itong casualty loss that you claim from earthquake, ibig sabihin niyan, may report ng examiner dyan, and that's the amount that you can claim. Kasi kung wala, gagawa pa ulit ng computation dyan ng examiner. At ano yun? Ililis pa niya yung salvage value, and then i-determine pa niya yung cost ng equipment mo or inventory mo na nawala. No? So may trabaho pa yan. You cannot just claim it right away. Finance cost, these are the cost of money, no, na ginamit nyo. So, meron siyang interest expense on the bank loan. So, dapat may bank loan ka in order that you can claim the interest. Interest expense on bond payable. So, that's the total finance cost or the interest expense. Okay? So, we're done with income statement. No? We're done with our income statement. Sorry na lang because we have a very limited time. That's why wala po tayong time on the question and answers. But you can always put it in your chat box and we can answer later. No? Because itong time natin, 2 hours with all these topics, kulang na kulang. That's why we can just give you the overview. No? Kung gusto nyo pang i-expand yung knowledge nyo about financial accounting, then you buy books about financial accounting and read it. No? Kasi kagaya dito sa mga accounts in the income statement, you can always expound the accounts. May mga explanations po doon sa intermediate accounting or sa financial accounting natin, in which all these accounts and also the proper accounting entries are explained, no? Saka may mga examples. Hindi kayo wala. That's why I for one, kasi may mga updates din ito sa mga accounting standards natin. I for one, I also buy books on financial accounting in order to update myself. Kasi yung accounting ko, kopong-kopong pa. I become a CPA 1985 pa. Imagine, ilang years na ngayon? 1985 ngayon, papunta ngayon, ilang years na? 21 plus 15 years. So, 36 years na akong CPA. So, yung mga accounts noon ng accounting, iba pa yung accounting standards. That's why I also have to update, no? Kaya ang binabasa ko yung financial accounting, and then per account, pag gumagawa ako ng accounting and disclosures sa financial statement, disclosure or explanation of the account, doon po ako kumukuha, no? And hindi lang yun, you also have to update yourself on the accounting standards. Kasi lahat ng mga accounts na yan, may mga accounting standards that you are going to follow, no? So, hindi lang yan basta gawa lang tayo and then present lang tayo kung ano yung gusto natin. You have to follow the standards. At that standards ngayon is the IFRS na, International Financial Reporting Standards. That is also being followed by the BAR. So let's now go to balance sheet or statement of financial position and disclosures. Ano po itong balance sheet? No? Ito yung nandun na yung ating mga accounts. Ito na yung source ng ating accounting equations doon sa debit and credit natin, sa accounting entries natin, na assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. No? Yan na yan. Ito na yung balance sheet natin. And this is also one of the most important financial statements. Why? Kasi nandyan na yung result of operation mo. Yan na yung ano ba nangyari? Tumaas ba yung cash mo o nawala ka ng cash? Kaya nga ang requirement for the preparation of this financial statement is 2 years kasi may comparative ka. Kasi unang tingin mo lang for the users of this financial statement, unang tingin mo lang sa financial statements, you already have an idea, nag-increase ba siya o nag-decrease siya. So what happened to the operation during the year? And for this year, like 2020, it is very important that we disclose also our impact or yung effect of the COVID-19 or the pandemic in our financial, especially if your business is such that it is an industry affected really by the pandemic, no? That's so with technology, no? Telecommunications, not so with the pharmaceuticals. Hindi sila affected. In fact, lumobo pa yung kanilang sales, no? So hindi sila affected, lumaki pa yung mga sales nila. Siguro in that case, iba din yung disclosures nyo. Pero for those na transportation companies, mga restaurants, mga resorts, close sila during the pandemic, then you have to disclose that also in your financial statement. No? Okay. So this is an example of the statement of financial position. At ang ano sabi natin dito? This information are coming from your books and records, no? Halimbawa, cash and cash equivalents, saan to galing? Doon na sa, you start with your journal, and then from the journal, you post it in your ledger, and then you have balances, no? Halimbawa, gumagawa ka monthly balances. And then, you have a trial balance, no? So, itong mga account na to, coming from your books of accounts, this is the result of what you have been recording in your books of accounts. No? So, doon to galing. Hindi yung pag gumawa ka na lang ng financial statements, puro na lang estimate, no? Pagdating ng audit, estimate din ng examiner yung tax liabilities mo. Why? Kasi wala ka namang ipapakita na libro, no? So, cash and cash equivalents, saan to galing? Sa trial balance mo for the year. No? 500,000. Financial assets at fair value, pero for accounting purposes natin, yung financial assets natin at cost, ha? Ito, financial accounting to, pero sa taxable income natin, hindi pwede yung fair value. At cost lang. No? So, trade and other receivables. And then we have inventories, we have prepaid expenses, and we have total current assets. So, lahat yan, nanggagaling yan doon sa books and records nyo. So, for the inventories, saan nanggagaling ang inventories? From your purchases, of course, less your sales. Kung ano yung nabenta nyo, kasi ang tagal po gumawa ng inventories, especially kung iba-back job nyo, sobrang hirap. Why? Kasi yung inventories na yan, when it comes to sales, may markup na yan. So, you have to consider also. Kaya, isa-isahin mo yan eh. From your purchases, ano ba yung nabenta mo? Ano yung naiwan? Kaya nga, nandun siya sa inventories. No? Or else, nawala yung inventories mo, wala ka namang sales. No? So, what happened? Na magic yung inventories mo. Hanapin niya ng BIR, i-consider niya yan na sold. No? Ganun ang mangyayari dyan. If you have, ito naman ang mangyayari, if you have all the purchases, kasi dinalakihan mo yung purchases mo dahil nag-claim ka ng input tax mo. So, malaki yung sales mo, malaki yung purchases mo, wala kang inventory. Anong gagawin ng BIR? Considered sold lahat yan. Hindi mong dineclare yan as sales, i-divide nila dyan sa gross profit mo, and then you have your actual sales. Hindi ka pwedeng magreklamo because that is in your records. No? At nawawala siya, kaya hinahanap. Okay, you have prepaid expenses, and then you have the total current assets. And then you have the non-current assets. You have property, plant, and equipment, investment in associate at equity. Pag sinabi mong at equity, this is in the form of shares of stocks. Kaya ang investment mo dito, yung income mo from your investment should be dividend. Kasi equity siya. So shares of stocks. Long-term investment, nandyan din. Pero dapat yan, may mga notes siya, ha? May note 6, may note 5. Ibig sabihin yan, may explanations ka pa dyan. And then you have intangible assets. Ako, I'm very particular of intangible assets now. So we're talking about preparation of financial statements. Sasabihin ko na rin sa inyo that you are going to recognize your intangible assets. Sabi ng iba, ma'am, wala naman kaming intangible assets. It's not true. Why? Especially now, we're living in a digitized world. Kahit na yung website nyo, ano yan? Intangible yan. No? Yung mga patents nyo, ang dami pong intangibles, kaya do not say na wala kayong intangible assets. No? And even your business name, that is an intangible. It just happened na hindi natin sila nai-recognize. No? So, dapat ang isang hindi nawawala sa atin ngayon are intangible assets. Kaya pala maingay. Okay. So, other non-current assets, 100,000. So, may note 8 din yan. We have to explain kung ano yung components of that non-current assets. So, total non-current assets is 13,200,000. So, total assets, 15,550,000. So, ito yung assets equals liabilities plus stockholders' equity. So, ito na yung assets. You have the assets. Hanapin na lang natin yung liabilities and the stockholders' equity. So, we have here the liabilities and shareholders' equity. For the current liabilities, we have trade and other payables. So, okay yun, no? That we claim interest expense for income statement natin because we have our payable. No? Note payable, short-term debt. No? Ito may interest talaga to. Current portion of bonds payable. And then we have warranty liability. Okay? So we have total current liabilities. And for the non-current liabilities, we have bonds payable. Ano yung difference between the current liabilities and the non-current? Yung current liabilities will mature within the year. No? Payable na siya during the year. Ang non-current liabilities naman will not mature next year pa. Kaya dito siya nilagay sa non-current liabilities. Pagka payable na siya within the year, i-transfer mo siya sa current liabilities. Kaya may nakalagay dyan, current portion of bonds payable. No? So, current portion of bonds payable, pagdating sa non-current liabilities, bonds payable remaining portion. Ibig sabihin, payable pa rin siya, but not on the taxable year. So, note payable, we have 600,000 and we have deferred tax liabilities. Alam nyo, dito sa deferred tax liabilities, may, di ko lang siguro pa na video, no, sa tutorial, but I have conducted that already. Malaking, ano din yan, siguro isang webinar din yan, no? Yung magkukompute tayo ng deferred tax liabilities. Why? Because ang karamihan, pag na-letter notice, sinasabi nila yung timing difference. No? Tingnan natin, pagka nag-deferred ka kasi, sabi ko hindi ako naniniwala sa timing difference. No? Kaya makikita yan sa deferred tax liabilities mo. What are the liabilities that you deferred? No? May mga explanations yan dapat. And then we have shareholders' equity. So you start with the share capital, 100 pesos par value. Itong share capital natin na to, saan to nakikita? What is our supporting documents here? Your articles of incorporation. So hindi ka lalayo doon. And then this share capital, hindi yan nagbabago ha. Kasi yung iba binabago-bago nila, hindi yan nagbabago. Why? Because that is sanctioned by the SEC or the Securities and Exchange Commission. Binago mo yan, there should be an approval from them. Yan po pwede. That's why it's always fixed in your shareholders' equity. Huwag mo siyang ilagay na net of the retained earnings. Hindi pwede. It should be as is kung ano yung nakalagay sa SEC mo. And then there is reserves, no? 3 million. But the BAR, when it comes to reserves or appropriated for your projects, yung equity na yan should be utilized in 1 year. Hindi pwede na nandyan na siya ngayon as reserves, the following year, reserve pa rin. Hindi na pwede yan. Hindi pwede alam na ng BAR, no? You will be taxed as improperly accumulated earnings tax. But because of the pandemic, wala munang improperly accumulated tax ngayon. So, hindi pa siya ipe-penalize. So, you have a retained earnings of 3,650,000. Total shareholders' equity, 11,650. So, our total liabilities and shareholders' equity, 15,550,000 is equal with our assets. No? So, balanse. Balanse yung balance sheet natin. Okay, saan lahat ito galing? May mga supporting documents ito that is also recorded in our books of accounts. No? So, So never do ha?
Ayusin ko lang yung audit.
Wala na naman.
Then nagkano.
Problema na talaga yung mic. Hindi ba pwede gamitin yung isang mic na yan?
Pwede ba? Pero tatry ko lang sa sabit mo.
Sige. Sige, problema pala tayo sa audio talaga. Yung isang mic na lang kaya, yung gamitin ko yan. Oh. naman pala nakatali. So, pwede na ako mag-ganon-ganon.
Pwede naman.
Very good. Okay na? Okay. So, let's continue. Let's continue with our discussion. No? Sorry for our microphone. Kailangan ng palitan. Okay? So, that's the example no, ng ating balance sheet. Ito another example. Kasi ang uh, balance sheet is also the same as statement of financial position. No? Parehas lang yan sila. Okay? So, this is just another example. So, the same lang po. Okay. Then the liabilities and stockholders' equity. And then the disclosures, no? Okay. Ang disclosures po are very important part ng financial statement, no? So note 1, we have cash and cash equivalents. So this is the explanation for cash, no? So for note 1, we have cash on hand, we have cash in bank, we have petty cash fund, we have BSP treasury bill, no? Kasi considered as cash din po siya. Pag ang maturity niya is 3 months and below, no? Kasi tingnan nyo pinurchase siya ng December and then magjuju siya ng March. So, considered cash na din po siya. And then, we have the total cash and cash equivalent of 500,000. So, yun yung disclosure. And then, we have the trade and other receivables. No? So, anong components ng trade and other receivables? We have accounts receivable of 550,000. And then, less mo yung allowance for doubtful account. Yun yung sabi natin na do not claim doubtful account or accounts written off na wala ka namang receivables. No? Mortal sin yan. Notes receivable kasi wala kang basis. No? So, notes receivable, accrued interest on notes receivable, advances to employees collectible currently, and then we have the total trade and other receivables. So, yan po yung note 2. And then, inventories. Ito yung inventories na sabi ko sa inyo na very important ngayon and very, very particular, especially in the audit. No? So, you have finished goods, you have goods in process, you have raw materials, manufacturing supplies, and then you have the total inventories. Take note that in the inventories, there are also other inventoriable costs. Ano yung mga inventoriable costs that you can claim as your direct cost no, sa pag-manufacturing kayo? Ito yung mga freight and delivery expenses. Ito yung mga insurance no, on the goods. Kasama pa po yan sa inventoriable cost. Why? Because you will classify them as direct cost. So, inventoriable cost pa siya. Note 4 are prepaid expenses. No, ito yung mga advance payment nyo ng expenses. You have office supplies unused. You have prepaid insurance. So, you have total prepaid expenses of 50,000. Okay. Note 5, ito yung property, plant, and equipment naman. No? So, take note na sa note 5 na to, property, plant, and equipment, dito yung lapsing schedule nyo. No? Ito yung may land, building, machinery and equipment, furniture and fixtures. Meron siyang patterns, molds, dies, and tools. Kasi manufacturing company siya, no? So ito yung take note also that your property, plant, and equipment will conform or should be aligned also with the industries that you are in. Kasi, diba, transportation companies ka. So, ano nakalagay sa property, plant, and equipments mo? So, mga sasakyan or vehicles, no? Kung agriculture ka, ano yung nakalagay sa property, plant, and equipment mo? Mga biological assets. So, depending yan on the industry that you are in. And then we have the total of the property, plant, and equipment for BAR purposes, total at cost. For accounting purposes, fair value. No? Hindi yan pareho. That's why may reconciliation ka at the end ng financial statements mo, even in your ITR, may reconciliation ka between taxable income and the accounting income kasi magkaiba yan. Hindi yan sila pareho. So you have the total assets or property, plant, and equipment, and then you have accumulated depreciation. The accumulated depreciation that you claim, accumulated ito hindi ito yung current depreciation na kiniklaim mo sa financial statements mo. When we say accumulated since the beginning, nung nag-accumulate na siya, so this contains depreciation in different taxable periods. So maraming taxable periods yan. Hindi lang yan yung current. No? Kaya nga ang tawag sa kanya accumulated na. And then we have the carrying amount of the property, plant, and equipment. So sa baba, meron pa siyang breakdown on the accumulated depreciation. No? So you have the building, machinery, furniture, and fixtures. So you have total accumulation, accumulated depreciation of 2,400,000. No? So kulang siya ng 3 zero. Okay. Itong accumulated depreciations na breakdown, take note na wala siyang land, ha? Because land, di pwedeng mag-claim ng depreciation ng land. Why? Because land will never depreciate. May exception, of course. Pag halimbawa, nabaha, o kaya kinain na siya ng ilog, makonsider mo rin na nag-depreciate siya kasi yung value niya is bumaba, no? Pero in general, land, hindi nagkiklaim ng depreciation because land will not depreciate. Kaya nga sabi ko, kung investor ka, and then you have your hard-earned money that you want to invest, then sabi ko dun sa pinsan ko na magre-retire, sabi ko, you invest in land, no? Magtiis ka nga lang magtiis ka nga lang because land is not liquid. Hindi mo man pwedeng kainin yung land, no? But you can always plant something in the land na you can eat, no? Pero yung land, di mo pwedeng bawasan yan. Pwede mo siyang hukayin, pero pag hukay mo, sa ilalim yan, land pa rin yan, no? Kaya the best investment talaga is land. No? Pero depende din sa land, dapat mamili ka rin ng land na maganda. Kasi kung bili ka ng land, doon naman sa tuktok ng bundok, doon malapit sa ilog na binabaha, wala rin. That's why, yung land, mamili ka, yung may commercial value. Okay. Note 6, long-term investment. No? Ito yung mga long-term investments natin. We have plant expansion fund. We have financial assets at amortized cost. We have cash surrender value. No? We have the total other long-term investments. Sa ano pa rin nato, we're talking still of the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. Ito yung explanations niya. Okay. Note 7, intangible assets. Diba nag-claim siya ng intangible assets na 2 million. So ano yung composition ng intangible assets na yan? We have the patent and the trademark. And remember, this patent and trademark, in order to claim that, these are registrable intangible properties. Why registrable? Because you should register this in order to be protected sa IPO or the Intellectual Property Office. If you want this to be protected all over the world or worldwide, you have to register this with WIPO or the World Intellectual Property Office based in Switzerland. Then you are worldly protected. No? Kasi otherwise, kahit sino na lang, pwedeng gamitin yung patent mo and the trademark. Alam nyo yung patent, trademark, nagagaya yan. No? At maraming nanggagaya. Yung iba ayaw na mag-research and development, gagayahin nila yung mga existing, and then magpapatent din sila, baguhin lang nila ng konti. No? That's why, alam nyo, dito sa mundo, kung gagana yung isip mo, may mga gusto kang gawin sa buhay, hindi na mahirap ngayon para sa akin. Why? Because there are already models. No? So, gayahin mo lang, sundin mo na, deviate mo ng konti yung sa'yo. You can do away with the expenses na research and development. Pero of course, gumagawa ka ng sarili mo research. It's difficult. I have one client na inventor. Namatay na siya last May kasi COVID. Ang dami kong natutuhan sa kanya kasi ang tawag nga sa kanya is the Albert Einstein of the Philippines. But yung isang regrets ko rin sa akin as a practitioner, hindi ko siya natulungan at the time na hinuli na siya ng mga NBI because of violations dito sa mga patents and trademarks, no? And he was required to pay millions of penalties. You know? Kaya ako nagka-interest sa intellectual properties because of him, no? Naawa ako during the time na hinuhuli siya, wala akong magawa. Kasi hindi ko alam. No? So, I made studies. And in fact, nakarating pa ako sa WIPO. No? I attended the World Convention ng WIPO just to uh, discover more about intangibles. So next, we have note 8, other non-current assets. No? So we have long-term refundable deposits. Ito yung components ng other non-current assets. Non-current because hindi sila current. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila, they will not make benefits ng 1 year lang. Beyond the 1 year term. No? Mapapakinabangan mo pa rin sila. Refundable deposit, 20,000. Advance to officers, 50,000. No? Tingnan nyo ha, dito nila nilagay yung advances to officers. Other non-current assets. Alam nyo, accounting is an art din eh. No? Sabi nila. Kaya depende yan kung paano gagawin ng accountants nyo. No? Ako, for tax purposes lang, pero sa accounting, of course, siyempre alamin mo rin yung accounting because it is related. And after all, yung financial statements mo, that you use accounting standards, yan din, doon din manggagaling yung tax, liabilities. No? So you should know all this. Note 9, trade and other payables. We have accounts payable, notes payable, ang dami niyang payable, no? Accrued interest on notes payable, income tax payable. So, nilagay pa dito yung income tax payable. Pwede din naman. Dividends payable, accrued expenses, total trade and other payables. But of course, ito for purposes of discussions. Once na naglagay na kayo, lahat ng mga accounts na nandito, may basis yan. Kung baga sa ano, may connect yan doon sa ibang accounts. Kaya wag na wag kayong maglagay ng accounts na for the sake lang na may ilalagay kayo. That should be aligned or balanced or connected with the other accounts. No? So, accounts payable, utang mo to eh. Notes payable, utang pa rin, pero it is supported with notes or promissory notes. Accrued interest on notes payable, nasa kontrata yan. No? Income tax payable, nasa income tax return mo din yan. Dividend payable, dapat meron kang investment, no, in your or ikaw yung payable dito, dapat may dineclare ka na payable or dividend during the year. And for you to declare a dividend, dapat meron kang retained earnings na unappropriated. Otherwise, hindi ka dapat na-declare ng dividend. No? May mga rules yan. Bawat account po sa ating financial statement, may mga rules yan, kaya huwag tayong basta-basta naglalagay lang ng amount. Okay, so we have accrued expenses. Accrued expenses are coming from other expenses to. Kaya may mga basis lahat yan. Hindi natin pwedeng drawing. No? So, note 10, reserves. Ano yung reserves? Ito yung appropriations natin for some projects. So, we have share premium of 2 million and we have written the earnings appropriated for contingencies. Ano yung contingencies? Ito yung mga unexpected na happenings natin or we consider some risk, appropriate na tayo for those contingencies. No? So, 1 million. So, total reserves is 3 million. Okay. So, other mandatory requirements that we have for the financial statement is the statement of cash flow. That's why sabi ko sa inyo, cash is very, very important. That during the audit, the examiner will make a cash analysis. And any unaccounted cash can be treated as other income. So you have your preparation of the statement of cash flow. Okay. Saan siya nanggagaling? From the summary of your operating, investing, and financing activities. Of course, your financing activities, operating, yun yung income statement natin, coming. We assume that all those records are coming from your books of accounts. Sa records na. Hindi yung wala tayong basis. So this is the example of the statement of cash flow. So cash flows from operating activities, ang dami, no? Sa operating activities niya. We have the net income, we have the increase in accounts receivable, we have decrease in notes receivable, decrease in inventory. Lahat yan may effect yan sa cash, no? So bigyan ko kayo ng overview. How does it affects the cash? Yung net income na 1 million, ano yan? Siyempre, dagdag yan sa cash. Bakit? Kasi nagkaroon ka ng net income eh. So, nadagdagan yung cash mo ng 1 million. Increase in accounts receivable. Bakit ang increase in accounts receivable? Decrease yan sa cash. Kasi, nagbenta ka, hindi ka binayaran. So, nasaan yung pera mo na 60,000? Nandun sa ibang tao, receivable mo pa lang, tatanggapin mo pa lang. So, bawas siya sa cash mo. No? Kasi bakit? Napunta siya sa ibang tao, naging accounts receivable siya. Next is decrease in inventory na 50,000. No? Ano ba yan? Decrease in notes receivable, 50,000. No? So, nag-decrease yung notes receivable, 50,000. So, mali ito. Dapat yung decrease sa notes receivable, negative yan, ang 50,000. Bakit? Nabawasan yung, hindi, notes receivable. So, dagdag siya 50,000. Bakit? Kasi tumanggap ka ng payment sa notes receivable. Nabawasan yung notes receivable mo, ibig sabihin, nakolekta mo. So, nadagdagan ka ng 50,000. Okay? Decrease in prepaid, decrease in inventory of 160,000. Bakit yung decrease in inventory, ang effect niya, increase in cash? Bakit nag-increase ang cash mo? Na nabawasan yung inventory mo. Kasi yung inventory mo, nabenta mo. Kaya ka na nabawasan. Alangan namang pinamigay mo yan pag nag-decrease in inventory ka. And for your information, halimbawa may inventory ka, pinamigay mo, that is still taxable sa VAT. Ha? Taxable pa rin yan. Kahit pinamigay mo yan. No? I-account mo pa rin yan as sale. Ang tawag doon, dim sale transactions. No? So, decrease in inventory, nag-decrease ang inventory mo ng 160,000, nabenta mo siya, nakolekta mo, nadagdag yun sa cash mo na 160,000. Decrease in prepaid expenses. Yung prepaid expenses mo, binayaran mo yun ng cash in advance. Ngayon, nagamit mo na yung prepaid expenses mo, bumalik yan siya sa cash na 10,000. So, yun pong effect. Gain on sale of investment. No? Bakit yung gain on sale of investment? Nakalagay siya dito, bawas sa cash eh. Hindi ko ma-explain bakit gain on sale of investment, 40,000. Decrease in cash. Dapat increase, no? Loss on sale of equipment. O, yan ang dapat. Nagkamali lang to. Loss on sale of equipment, dapat yan ang negative. No? Bawas sa cash mo na 20,000. Nagkamali lang to. Gain on sale of investment, dagdag yan sa cash, positive 40,000. Loss on sale of equipment, negative yan. Bawas sa cash, 20,000. And then depreciation, 420,000. Dagdag sa cash mo. Bakit dagdag sa cash? Because yung depreciation has no cash outlay. Wala siyang cash outlay, pero pagdating sa operating expenses mo, kinlay mo yung 420,000. So, benefited ka ngayon in the terms ng cash na 420,000. Kaya dinagdag dyan sa cash flow mo ang depreciation na 420,000. And then we have amortization of patent. No? Dagdag pa rin siya sa cash mo na 80,000. Why? Because you have the patent and then inamortize mo siya. Wala namang cash outlay. But benefited ka na 80,000 kaya binalik dyan sa cash mo. Kaya alam nyo sa cash analysis, marunong yung gumawa nito. Eh. Kaya sabi ko, yung mga author ng accounting, napakamarunong. Why? Kasi kahit pasikot-sikot mo pa saan mo dalhin yung mga account, pag gumawa ng halimbawa cash flow, babalik at babalik pa rin siya kung saan siya ginamit, kung ano yung effect niya. Whether it is increase in cash. Kaya walang mawawala na cash. Everything is accounted for. Huh? So, amortization of patent is 80,000. No? So, dagdag sa cash. Increase in accounts payable, 40,000. Bakit ang increase in accounts payable is increase in cash? Why? Because nangutang ka. No? Nadagdagan yung utang mo, nangutang ka ng 40,000. So, anong effect niyan? Nadagdagan yung cash mo ng 40,000. Decrease in notes payable. Bakit yung decrease sa notes payable na 180,000 bawas sa cash? Kasi nagbayad ka. So, anong binayad mo? Cash. So, nabawasan yung cash mo ng 180,000. Decrease in accrued expenses. Ito yung accrue mo ng mga expenses. Expenses mo yan, yung payable mo yan, dapat mo siya bayaran. So, binayaran mo siya, nag-decrease siya dahil binayaran mo na. So, bawas siya sa cash mo na 230,000. Okay. So, net cash provided by operating activities is 1,270,000. So, ganyan po magawa ng cash flows. And then, cash flows from investing activities, nag-invest ka naman. Sale of investment, 240,000. Sale of equipment, 60,000. Dagdag sa cash mo yan kasi nagbenta ka. Ngayon, nag-purchase ka ng land, bumili ka ng land na 1 million. Siyempre, bawas yan sa cash. Kaya tingnan nyo, negative siya. Why? Kasi nabawasan yung cash mo, binili mo ng lupa. Purchase of equipment, 400,000. Bawas din sa cash. Why? Kasi nadagdagan yung equipment mo, binili mo yung cash mo ng equipment. Okay? In investing activities is 1,100,000. Negative, kasi ginamit mo siya eh. Cash flows from investing activities. Sale of investment, sale of equipment, nagbenta. And then purchase of land, purchase of equipment. So net cash used in investing activities. So we have increase in cash and cash equivalents of 400,000. We have to add the cash and cash equivalents ng January 1 or ito yung beginning na cash mo. So yung cash and cash equivalent December 31 is 600,000. Whatever cash, the amount of cash na nandyan sa balance sheet ninyo, yan din yung amount ng cash na i-account nyo dito sa cash flow. Kasi ibig sabihin yan, in-account nyo, saan nanggagaling yung inyong cash, no? Na nandyan sa financial statements. Okay? So, clear po tayo. Kasi yung sunod natin, ito yung statement of changes in equity or capital. No? So, 5 minutes lang. Huwag na mag-umpisa doon. Ito na pala eh, konti na lang. Kasi yung computerized books of accounts natin, mamayang hapon na to. Although, kinuntiin yung ko yan eh. Okay, so let's continue with the next statement that we're going to prepare. But um, since we still have time, no, in my last conduct, kinontinue ko na yung sa computerized books of accounts. No? Kasi our topic this afternoon is marami. So, might as well, dagdag ko na ngayon yung sa computerized books of accounts. No? Because itong statement of changes in equity or capital, konting-konti lang to eh. No? Okay, but this is a mandatory financial statement, part of the financial statement that you should prepare. No? So this is an example of the statement of changes in equity. Um, we have your share capital, we have the uh, written earnings, no? You have the reserve or the appropriations. Then we have the balances, no? Yung beginning balance. Okay. So for the statement of changes in equity, we have the balance beginning, and then we have the correction of error resulting from prior year under depreciation. So anong effect niyan? Bawas siya sa written earnings. Bakit siya bawas sa written earnings? Because yung written earnings, yan po yung catch all. Doon na yung uh, residual, no? Residual account yan eh. Lahat ng mga income at saka excess na mga funds, nandoon lahat yan sa written earnings. Kaya kung may mga prior year correction ka, ang bagsak niyan nasa written earnings din. Okay. Change in accounting policy from weighted average FIFO. Ito yung accounting policy in the valuation of inventory. So FIFO credit, no? So 300,000. Issuance of 10,000 ordinary share with 100 par value at 150 per share. So may premium siya na 1 million. No? Issuance of 5 million preference shares with 50 par at 100 per share. So siguro itong ABC company is gaining company kasi pataas yung kanyang shares of stocks. Once your shares of stocks is going low, ibig sabihin the operation of the company is not good, no? So ito puro pataas siya, puro yung sale niya at a premium. So meaning yung mga tao willing to buy the shares of stocks at a premium, mas mataas kaysa talagang value niya per book kasi maganda yung company, no? Gaining. Then we have the comprehensive income, net income, and then other comprehensive income. So we have also dividend declared during the year. So bawas yan sa written earnings, kaya negative. So we have current appropriation for contingencies. So bawas din yan sa written earnings. So balance as of December 31, ito na. So ito yung pinaka statement of changes in equity natin. Alam nyo, sino ang gumagamit dito? Karamihan. Of course, the BIR, kasi titingnan niya how much is your written earnings. No? Kasi may implications yan or may tax consequence. But of course, sino din ang titingin niyan? The banks. Why? Kasi may mga available written earnings to kaya mangutang. But para sa akin din, no? Parang sabi ko, hindi rin rational yung bangko, no? Kasi titingnan niya, may capacity to pay ka ba? Marami kang pera. Sabi ko, kung marami ang pera, di hindi na yan mangutang. Oh my goodness. Common sense. Hindi siya magpapautang kung walang pera, yung pautangin. Sabi ko, yung may pera, hindi na yan mangungutang. Ano bang logic yan? Sabi ko, sabi nila, o sige, pautangin kita kasi may pera ka pala sa bangko. Kung may pera yan sa bangko, hanapan ng pera sa bangko. Titingnan yung statement of bank statement mo kung may capacity to pay ka raw. O ibig sabihin, titingnan kung may pera ka. Sabi ko, kung may pera yan, hindi na mangutang. It's the logic na mangutang ka pa, may pera ka naman. No? Kaya daig sila ngayon ng mga card. No? Ano ba yun? Yung mga credit cards. Basta credit cards, bibigyan ka lang ng linya ng credit, okay ka na. Same as cash na rin yan. So, yun yung treat talaga sa bangko, yung mga credit cards. Kasi yung bangko, maarte pa magpautang. Dami-dami pa mga collateral. Yung credit card companies, card lang. Wala namang hahanapin sa iyo ng mga collateral. No? So that's one um, treat of the banks. No? Okay, so statement of written earnings shows that changes affecting directly the written earnings of an entity. No? So doon na i-explain. Kaya nire-require yan because saan ba ginagamit yung written earnings or yung income na kinikita ng company? Saan ba niya yan ginagamit? Okay. So, yung statement of written earnings, pagka maliliit lang, kasi sa accounting standards po, we have two accounting standards. One is for the full PFRS, yung may threshold na malalaki na talaga ang income. And then we have the accounting standard for SME or small and medium enterprises. No? Itong statement of written earnings, pag small, medium enterprise ka, kasama na to sa income statement. Pero pag malaki ka, bukod talaga yung statement of written earnings mo. No? So, meron kang statement of changes in equity kasama na yung statement of written earnings. Okay? So, we're done with our financial statements. No, we have discussed about the income statement. We discussed about the balance sheet or the statement of financial position. We discussed about the cash flow. So, anong titingnan natin sa cash flow? Yung increase-decrease, ano yung effect niya sa cash? No? Alam niyo, sometimes mahirap. But I have a tutorial there on how to prepare cash flow fast and easy. Nandiyan yan sa YouTube channel natin, no? Itong task training. Why? Kasi may tips ako na binigay doon na meron kang yung balance sheet mo. Kasi itong statement of cash flow mo, galing yan sa balance sheet mo eh. Oh? So, pag balance yung balance sheet mo, hindi pwedeng hindi balance yung cash flow mo. Why? Kasi nasa increase-decrease yan. Saan niya makikita yung increase-decrease? You have a balance sheet which is comparative, no? 2 years yan. So, kunin mo ngayon yan, yung increase and decrease within the 2 years, no? Ang increase is, or decrease, itong current year. So, yung base mo dyan is yung past year. So, para makita mo yung increase-decrease niya, yung past year, o preceding year, i-deduct mo ngayon itong current year para makita mo yung increase-decrease. No? At balance yan. Pag balance yan, lipat mo na lang doon sa cash flow. Hindi ka na mahirapan. Oh, yun yung tip ko dyan na fast and easy. Hindi siya mahirap gawin. Okay? Now, let's go to our next topic, which is the computerized books of accounts, because our topic this afternoon is very long. So, might as well, yung remaining 20 minutes natin, discuss ko na sa inyo yung computerized books of accounts. Although, hindi lahat to matatapos, i-continue natin mamaya no 2 o'clock. So, let's now go to the computerized books of accounts. Ano ba yung computerized books of accounts? We will discuss this Revenue Memorandum 10-2020. Ito yung latest on the computerized books of accounts. Why? Because this suspends the requirement for permit to use the computerized accounting system. Dati kasi, meron tayong RMO 29-2002, no? Kasama ako dun sa gumawa ng RMO na yan. And wala na yun. Why? Because in that RMO, nire-require that before you can use a computerized accounting system, you have to apply or required for permit to use. Ngayon, wala na yan. Why? Kasi sa tagal na requirements na yung permit to use, ang dami pa rin walang permit to use up to now. And ano yung maging problema? Matagal ang BAR. Why matagal ang BAR? Especially in the Visayas and Mindanao, there was a time na yung Visayas, sakop pa niya yung Mindanao. No? Sila yung uh, evaluate ng mga accounting system. And sometimes, kung evaluate ka, it will take years bago ka ma-evaluate. Why? Because buong Visayas sila yung nag-evaluate sa dami. No? So, nakaschedule lang yan. Hindi pwede. So, ngayon, nung ginawa ni Commissioner, wala nang permit to use. No? Ano na lang ang gagawin ng taxpayer? Gagawa sila ng affidavit, submit to the BAR that they are using this computerized accounting system, and they have to evaluate their own system, and then make an affidavit submitted to the BAR that their accounting system conforms with all the requirements of the BAR. Kaya nga sabi ko, Matalino din to si Commissioner Dulay. Why? Kasi instead of the BAR evaluating the system, it's the taxpayer now who will evaluate their own system and see to it that all the requirements of the BAR are duly complied with. Also, mas mabilis. At wala nang dahilan yung mga large taxpayers wherein mandatory sa kanila yung computerized books of accounts to say na hindi sila in-approve ng BIR. No? Okay. So, ito yung RMO 10-2020. No? So, ano sabi nila? Yung lahat ng pending applications for permit to use computerized accounting system, wala na yan. No? For evaluation activity, wala na yan. Hindi na nila gagawin. Ano nilang gagawin? The duly accomplished notarized sworn statement with may Annex A yan dito. No? And then may attached summary of system description. No? And then may format ng commercial invoice or receipts, documents, description. Why? Because mandatory for sa taxpayers, large taxpayers to have a full computerized accounting system. And when we say full computerized accounting system, we mean pati yung issuance of receipts should be computerized. And then we have the records, no, and the reports, the specification, Annex A1. This should be signed by the taxpayer or the company's authorized representative. And then, meron siyang special power of attorney or board resolution. Alam niyo, yung special power of attorney and the board resolution, ito lang yung difference niya na only individual can make a special power of attorney. For corporation, ang ginagawa dyan, board resolution, wala yung SPA. Why? Because a corporation is an artificial being and a corporation, di yan pwede magbigay ng special power of attorney, yung isa man sa kanila, it should be through the board. Why? Because the corporation act through its board. No? Kaya board resolution and secretary certificate, yun na pwedeng magbigay ng authority to the representative. Unlike ng individual na pwede na siyang gumawa. Kasi individual siya eh. So siya yun. Magbibigay siya ng special power of attorney to a certain representative. So pwede yun. But for corporation, it should be through board resolution. Okay, so the requirements are sample print copy of system-generated principal and supplementary receipts. Ano yung mga supplementary receipts? Ito yung other than sales invoice and official receipts. All other invoices are supplementary receipts. So there should always be a sales invoice or an official receipt. Hindi yan pwedeng mawala. Kasi yung iba, kumbaga sa ano, dagdag na lang yan, personal use na lang yan ng taxpayer. Okay. So yung mga the other requirement are the sample print of system-generated books of accounts. No? Akala nyo, yung books of accounts na hanapin nyo, just like ano din, yung manual, no? Pagka computerized books of accounts na po, huwag nyo nang hanapin yung manual books of accounts. Why? Because ang computerized books of accounts, ang ledger nila, journal, are electronic. Hindi na yung kagaya ng manual. Kaya yung hanapin natin na manual, wala na yun. Only the electronic journal, the ledger, the sales journal, the purchase book, lahat-lahat na yan. No? Meron yan sa system or computerized na. Okay. At yung system na yan, nagtatrabaho na yan sarili nila, nagpo-post na yan, nagre-record, lahat-lahat na. Wala nang manual intervention. No? Kaya ang accounting system is napakamahal. Kaya pag sinira mo yung accounting system, sinayang mo yung pera mo. No? Ano man sira na yan, yan pwedeng sabihin na, ay, nasira po yung system namin. Ay, okay na po yung system namin. That's not true. Once nasira yan, talagang sira yan. Hindi yung pag-ayaw mo lang, sira siya. Pag gusto mo, okay siya. Wala yan. No? So, in the absence of the required permit to use, ano na lang yung substitute? Acknowledgement certificate. No? Sino ang gumawa ng acknowledgement certificate? The technical working group ng RDO or the Large Taxpayers Office. No? Nung nasa Bayer pa ako, kami yung pioneer dyan sa computerized accounting system. Kami yung sa CSET or yung computerized system evaluation team. No? Kami din ang gumawa ng mga RMOs dyan, saka regulations. Kaya malaking trabaho ko din during the time. Halos, halos na-assign na ako sa iba-iba, sa assessment, sa registration, sa iba-iba. Pero nandyan palagi ako sa technical working group ng computerized accounting system. No? Kaya na experience ko yun yung uh, changes na hanggang ngayon hindi talaga siya na improve masyado, no? When it comes to mga technical. But of course, ang BIR kasi sumasabay na lang kung ano yung changes ng technology. The BIR cannot do away with it. Kaya nga yung mga social media natin, they should maintain computerized books of accounts. Why? Because they have computerized records. So para mo sila i-manual, parang sintonado kung sa music pa. Why? Because i-manual mo yung computerized records or electronic records. Hindi pwede, no? So yung electronic records, dapat computerized accounting system because they're capable of archiving electronic records, no? So anong gagawin mo sa electronic records? I-print mo lahat and then i-convert mo sa manual. That's voluminous at saka topsy-turvy at saka costly. No? Okay. So yung acknowledgement certificate na yan is issued within 3 working days from the receipt of the requirements. Basta yung requirements mo kompleto, based on this revenue memorandum order, then bibigyan ka na ng acknowledgement certificate, and that is tantamount or substitute to the permit to use computerized accounting system. Okay. How about loose leaf books of accounts? Yung loose leaf books of accounts naman po, you can always use that, pero may permit din po yan sa BAR. At ano yung gagawin dyan? The loose leaf books of accounts, you can use it, no? Pwede mo i-print yan sa Excel and then printed siya. But at the end of the year, dapat i-book bind mo siya and then before the 15th day at the end of the accounting period, dapat dinala mo rin sa BAR at pinatatakan. So anong pagkakaiba ng manual books of accounts and the loose leaf books of accounts? Sa manual books of accounts, tatak muna bago mo gamitin. Why? Because you cannot use manual books of accounts na hindi muna dadaan at tatakan ng BAR. But for the loose leaf books of accounts, gamitin mo muna bago mo patatakan. Why? Because loose leaf siya, i-print mo siya sa computer as the transactions accumulates, no? Pagkatapos na yung taxable year, it is mandatory for you to gather all the loose leaf books that you use during the year and then i-book bind mo siya, lagyan mo siya ng affidavit and then dali mo sa BAR para tatakan, no? So ibig sabihin ng loose leaf, gamit muna bago tatak. Ang manual, tatak muna bago gamitin. And the loose leaf books of accounts may permit yan from the BAR. Okay. Anong sabi dito? Yung computerized accounting system, books of accounts, components, required permit to use shall be subject to post-evaluation. No? Bakit may post-evaluation siya? Because to check the compliance with existing revenue issuances. Ano yung mga existing revenue issuances natin? Pina-compile ko din po lahat ng mga RRs, RMOs related to the computerized accounting system. No? And I will make it available. Kaso lang, syempre, it's a way of life natin. That's why in the next year, no, meron na tayong sariling websites para dito, and we will entertain only members, no. And our membership naman is only 1,000 per year para ma-access ninyo yung mga information, no. We cannot do away kasi may mga maintenance cost na po tayo. So hindi na kami uobra sa libre, no, magugutom kami. That's why meron tayong a very minimal fee of 1,000 per year. No? We will make it available to you. Meron din kami kasalukuyan na ginagawa na glossary of the Philippine taxes. We will make it available also to the members. No? Kasi kailangan eh. Kami naman yung services namin on taxation such that nakakatulong din tayo dito sa ating mga practitioners or sa mga businesses natin that they can apply it in their work. Guide nila. No? But of course, may cost po tayo na ini-incur. Okay? So, pending application for permit to use, uh, ito na ang susundin. Hindi na yung 29-2002 na ang dami pang may mga walkthrough, may mga system evaluation. Ito wala na. No? But ang pagkakaiba lang dito sa RMO na to, meron siyang post-evaluation naman. Yung una, wala na. Why? Because everything has been settled down before binigyan sila ng permit. Dito, hindi pa. No? Nag-affidavit lang sila that they are compliant and they are using their system. So, ang gagawin ng BAR, they will be subjected to the post-evaluation. Okay. System enhancement. Of course, kung minsan yung system mo, meron kang gustong i-enhance, you want to upgrade, considered as back to zero ka. So, you ask again for permit or you go through the same process. No? Apply ka ulit, mag-affidavit ka that your system complies with the requirements. No? So, anong gagawin nila? The taxpayer should inform in writing the secretariat of the RD or the large taxpayer's office where they are registered. No? And then they will submit a matrix showing the comparative changes of the current and upgraded system and should be submitted together with the letter notification. No? Kasi dati, bawal na bawal talaga mag-upgrade ka without any permit. Ngayon, ito na, affidavit na rin, at saka yung matrix of comparative changes. I think mas madali ngayon compared noon. But of course, the burden is on the taxpayers lahat. Dati sa BIR Ngayon, ang taxpayers na are the ones responsible to hire for their technical staff to see to it that their system complies with the BIR. And it is not a one-man rule, no? Team. Why? Kasi hindi naman alam ng technical persons mo ano yung mga regulatory requirements. So you must have a lawyer or one knowledgeable in the tax laws bago mo magawa yung compliance with the BIR. Kaya nga dapat team work po talaga. No? Okay. Ito yung example ng SOR declaration. We have the SOR declaration for the computerized accounting system. The name of the authorized representative and the nationality, no, the registered name, address of the company, and then the line of business of the company, the business name, the VAT or non-VAT registration, the tax identification number. Kaya nga ito SOR declaration, meron siyang kasamang responsibilities, no? Okay, ano yun? Sabi niya dito, the software system to be adopted has the following functional and technical features. Sinong gagawa niyan? Of course, the technical persons. There is no suppression of sale. Ito yung pinaka-importante. Why? Kasi sabi nung isang software provider na nakausap ko, ma'am, hindi kami makabenta ng cash register machine na accounting system na hindi dalawa. Na isang pang BAR, isa yung pang owner, no? Hindi kami makabenta, hindi din nabibilhin. Anong ginawa ngayon ng BAR? Ikaw mismo na may-ari, may SOR declaration ka, there is no suppression of sales or income. So, ibig sabihin, wala kang tinatago, nakadeclare lahat. And or other technical scheme within the system that may affect the appropriate computation of taxes to their own. Diyos, sa tagal ko na nag-i-evaluate ng system, there are times na pag nandun na kami sa site, and then, bawa yung system mo, maraming terminals yan, especially yung mga retail, groceries, no? Supermarket, siguro. Yung mga terminals nila, may 30, 50, 100, ganun. Kikita mo, nagtatakbuhan yung mga tao, kung ano-ano nang ginagawa. Sabi ko, hindi naman magiging ganito to kung wala silang tinatago. Ka matatakot. Bakit kayo yung may nirarush pa o ano, may sinishift pa, no? Kaya na alam mo. But of course, you have to show it by evidence. Hindi naman pwedeng allegations lang. Okay, so ngayon, ito na, sila na mismo, binigyan na sila ng responsibility to declare their correct sales or income. And then the subject, which is the computerized accounting system. Ang dami pong computerized accounting system ha. I go through your chat. Wala na? Ay, nako, yung ating, gagraduate na sa akin tong ating mic na to. I swear. Gagraduate to sa akin. Hindi to pwede. Kasi, iniistorbo niya ako. Gagraduate to. Tapong ko to sa kangkungan. Nagalaw ko. Okay, maselan pa na yung mic. Okay. So, yung computerized accounting system natin, marami pong klase yan. That's why I read in your chat box na, Ma'am, can you recommend a computerized accounting system? There are so many. And ang sikat yata ngayon, yung Zero. No? Ang dami. Hindi ako nag-endorse ha, sad to say, may marami ding accounting system. Pero ang daming reklamo. No? Kasi sabi nila, problema daw pag binili na nila. And then, napakalaki ng maintenance. That's why ngayon, yung mga providers natin, nag-shift na rin sila from purchase to subscription. Kaya when you purchase, ang problema nyo lang kasi sa subscription, they have all your data. No? Yun naman will come in yung security issue. Kaya nga, alam nyo ngayon, pinag-aaralan ko itong mga digitized world na. Ang labanan nasa security of information. Wala kang, once pumasok ka na dito sa online, wala kang security. No? So, kung mag-subscribe ka, lahat ng information mo, para kang hinubaran. No? Ano yung hubad? Lahat kita. Lahat kita na information mo. And in a competitive world, information are very important. No? Kahit saan, pwede kang matalo sa labanan dahil sa information. So, para sa akin, mas maganda mag-purchase kayo ng sarili nyo kaysa mag-subscribe. Mahal nga lang. No? And Zero, accounting systems, ang daming feedback. Kasi tuloy-tuloy naman itong free bookkeeping natin. Ang daming nag-feedback na maganda. No? Hindi naman tayo mag-endorse ng alam natin na magbibigay lang ng problema. No? But Zero is, marami din gumagamit ng QuickBooks, but yung QuickBooks, pagka malalaking information na, hindi na niya kaya i-handle. No? I don't know kung may mga version sila na upgraded na yon. Okay? So, dati, yung ginagawa namin dun sa may face-to-face pa, pagka nagpa-free bookkeeping webinar kami, we also invite some of the presenter ng mga providers. Ngayon, hindi na natin kaya. But available naman po sila online. Mag-search na lang kayo dyan ng bookkeeping. But of course, hindi nyo kasi malalaman ng isang bagay maganda o hindi maganda, not unless na sinubukan nyo. Kaya ang buhay natin is trial and error din eh. Di ba? So, ganun din sa system. No? It's up to you. But expect na walang perfect dyan. Magkakaproblema talaga kayo. And expect also that you have contingencies when there are problems. Kaya nga sa system, napaka-importante yung backup. Backup talaga. Kaya dito sa amin, alam nyo, nagtatyaga ako, sometimes our computer slow down na. Kasi napakaraming files. Why? Hindi po pwedeng i-erase yan. Kahit, alam nyo, yung mga sa community pa ako, yung sa NGOs ko, hanggang ngayon, nandyan yan, naka-backup yan with USB, with hard drive. No? At saka hindi lang isa yung backup nyo, especially na yung business records nyo, hindi lang isa yung backup nyo. At least, 2 o 3. Para masira man yung isang backup, may 2 pa kayong backup. And then yung backup nyo should be placed in a place na away from the other backups. No, hindi nyo pagsama-samahin. Kasi kagaya nung nangyari, ang dami na, Undoy, Yolanda, ngayon Odette na naman. Same na mga tragedies na yan. So, we have to make also contingency measures na when these things happen, yung mga backup natin, maka-recover pa natin yung information. Kasama po talaga yan sa nagpo-provide tayo ng system. No? Okay. Can produce, ito na sa affidavit ha, pusin ko lang to, 12 o'clock na. Can produce audit trails, activity logs with substantive compliance. Yan ang pinaka-importante sa system nyo. Can produce a standard audit file. Why? Because your records will be audited. Can provide archive, restore procedures. Ano na yung archiving requirement natin ngayon? 10 years na. Can provide comprehensive system documentation. Why? Kasi records to ng business nyo. The target system implementation date shall be on, nakalagay dyan, the system application and database backup shall be preserved for a mandatory period of 10 years. Yan na. System application can be accessed and viewed by authorized revenue officers. The company as user of the software system shall be responsible to assist the BAR in the extraction of sales data from the software system. Why? Kasi nagiging experience ko to, o nandun ka na sa taxpayer site, sabihin nila, ay ma'am, wala po yung technical namin, ay ma'am, absent, pero ayaw ka palang bigyan. Kaya nakalagay na dyan sa affidavit. Any misrepresentation, violations, existing rules, regulations, may legal sanctions and penalties. No? So, sino yung pipirma dito? The authorized representative, and they should be notarized. And then we have Annex A1 on the description ng commercial invoice, receipts, or documents. Ito na yung ano ba yung information nandyan sa mga receipts ninyo. No? And these are also may legal requirements or may regulations. No? Yan na, nandyan na. Yung summary of system description, yung software system description, main software core system, merong components, middleware, interfacing software system, kung meron. Ayan, may mga software name, may version number. So lahat yan. And then the list of branches that will use the software system. Description, kung meron kayong point of sale machine to be used. Ano yung point of sale machine? Nakalink din ito doon sa computerized accounting system nyo. And then the components of the middleware or the interfacing software. Ito yung API, no? Mga program na nakalink din doon sa system. No? Okay. So, financial statements to be generated by the head office, so other accounting records, system-generated BIR forms, no? Then the server specifications or the technical infrastructure. Yan, nandyan lahat yan. Kung cloud-based ba siya, no? Data retention or the retrieval, the preservation, hard work, network maintenance, in-house or outsource. Pag outsource yan, napakamahal. Service and maintenance agreement, and then the maintenance service provider. No? And then the backup procedure, at saka yung disaster recovery plan. Pag wala kang yan, hindi ka ma-approve. Pero in this case, it's the responsibility of the owner to provide. No? And then the restoration period. Okay. Ito yung acknowledgement receipt certificate, meaning yung affidavit mo complies with the requirements. So, meron na siyang acknowledgement certificate which is tantamount to your permit. No? Okay. And then we have the accounting softwares. Ito yung mga accounting software na sinasabi ko sa inyo. But I'm not recommending anyone. No? These are just examples. So we have Xero. Xero is an accounting software. No? You can buy it. Na yun to sinasabi ko sa inyo na this was attested by some participants now. Okay. And then we have the, ano to ng Xero eh. And then we have the QuickBooks. No? QuickBooks marami din ang gumagamit. In fact, I'm planning also na QuickBooks yung bibilhin ko. No? And although nagpagawa ako ng sarili ko system noon, no? Pinaprogram ko. We have the Sage Intact. No? We have the Fresh Books. Anyway, you read na lang the description or you open up your internet, no? Google nyo. Then we have the Odo accounting. Malaki itong Odo sa pang-manufacturing to. And then we have the Soho books. Pang maliit lang to. And then we have the SAP accounting software. So, ayokong magsalita sa SAP, pero may mga negative feedbacks tayo. Although, napakaraming gumagamit ng SAP. No? This is a German software. Siguro minsan gumagamit lang din, na nahihirapan sila. Kakakulang lang sa trainings. And then we have the Pluto, no? Ang daming accounting system actually. The Oracle, ang Oracle mahal din. Ang BIR is using the Oracle. And then we have the Melio. Okay. So we're done with our morning session of this webinars. And this afternoon, we will have our revenue regulations number V-1, which is the mother bookkeeping regulations. So with that, I would like to say thank you very much, and pasensya na po doon sa mga lapses, no? Especially doon sa audio natin. Okay, so thank you very much, and see you at 2 o'clock.